Welcome friends to the 2026 Lexus RX 350h review. This is the F-Sport design model that I'm checking out, and it stickers for around $61,200. And just so you know, the hybrid models like what you see here, they are only available with the F-Sport design model and not the F-Sport handling. There is a difference. So we have the regular RX 350 with the turbo 4-cylinder engine. You're able to get both the F-Sport design and the handling. When you go with the handling, it does get the adaptive dampers, the beefier 6-piston front brakes, and we also get true F-Sport seats as well. The F-Sport design, it's simply supposed to mimic the looks of the F-Sport, and I have to say it looks beautiful with this incognito paint. You know, the badges, the 21-inch wheels, all of that looks fantastic on this SUV. And granted, it drives just fine as well, so I'm fine with this F-Sport design if you're someone who just enjoys the looks. Not to mention, this SUV comes pretty well equipped as well. And with that established, let's go ahead and let's talk about this drive now. So the 350h hybrid, it's powered by the 2.5-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine. It's got the nickel metal hydride battery pack, and it's producing 246 horsepower and 233 pounds-feet of torque. Lexus claims that these models can do 0 to 60 in 7.4 seconds. All of that is fine, but most importantly, we're buying this for what? The fuel efficiency, right? So we have here 37 mpgs in the city, 34 out on the highway. You might even be able to beat those numbers if you drive this more mellow and chill, like the way you're supposed to. And what I like is we have nearly the same fuel tank capacity as the regular 350 gas model. It's a little over 17 gallons. Combine that with the excellent fuel efficiency, you're gonna have a lot of range here with this SUV. So yeah, this is certainly one of the models that I definitely recommend. Yeah, the regular turbo 350, it's gonna be a bit quicker, and the engine, it's gonna be slightly more refined as well. Here with the 350h, the naturally aspirated engine, it can feel a bit more chattery under acceleration. I'll demonstrate. It's not the most refined sounding engine, but trust me, they have really improved the refinement of this engine over the years. This does not feel anywhere near as raspy and ridiculous as it did during the first few model years. The insulation of the engine bay and also the solidity of this overall cabin, it's been improved dramatically for the 2026 Lexus vehicles that I've noticed. I've driven so many different variations and trim levels of the 2026 RX and other Lexus vehicles, and I've been impressed with all of them. And we have enough power for the streets. I'm effortlessly passing individuals in the city. That's not an issue. And because of the standard all-wheel drive system, the vehicle, it's actually putting down the power pretty well. I do highly recommend getting a Lexus vehicle with all-wheel drive. When it comes standard, that's always a great thing. Now, more importantly, how's the refinement and how's the overall driving demeanor? I have to say, I recently did a test on the 2026 Mercedes GLE 450. Love that SUV. That's stickered for about $83,000, so about 20 grand more than this. And I appreciated that vehicle for its very calm, chill, tranquil driving nature. Well, the Lexus RX also has a very similar vibe. Of course, it doesn't have the same level of character as the Benz or the same level of dynamics, but that's okay. It's fine. There is a practical level of performance and handling that one needs out on the road, and this Lexus RX, it certainly achieves that. For instance, the high-speed stability of this, very good. When you take your everyday left-hand, right-hand turns, no one's like flipping and flopping all over the place. Everyone remains pretty neutral. The body is rather composed during your everyday turns, and that's what really matters. There's a pragmatic, practical handling that matters for everyday driving, and this vehicle, it achieves that. And I'm taking these long sweeping corners. The vehicle, it's doing just fine. We only have here like 235 wide, pretty skinny, narrow tires. And it's good, no problems, and literally no person buying this SUV is going to be driving it as hard as I am. This has that calming, soothing driving quality that I really appreciate, and this SUV, it's rather quiet. We do have here the double pane glass being used on the front side windows, not on the back, but things like that GLE 450 that I reviewed, it did not have the acoustic double pane glass package, and the BMW X5s, they don't even come with that. At least not in the normal models that most people buy. So we have that here with this around $61,000 RX. The wind noise, it's kept to an absolute minimum. Ride quality, it's very comfortable, even with these 21-inch wheels. I have driven RX models with like the 19-inch wheels. It only gets marginally more comfortable. It's not a big deal. If you like the look of the 21s, absolutely go for it. The steering is rather light and easy to manage, yet it has the correct amount of precision necessary. And you can also flip this vehicle into its sport mode and tighten up the steering just a bit more if you want. Not really necessary though. For the type of vehicle that this is, I personally recommend just the normal mode. You simply gain no satisfaction from terrorizing this SUV on back roads. And even the brakes are rather good here. We don't have those crazy 6-piston brakes found in the true F-Sport handling package. Again, you don't really need that. Sure, it's nice if you can have it, but the way this vehicle is set up here, it's perfectly fine. In general, just placing this SUV out on the road, not a problem. It doesn't feel super wide or long or anything like that. Very comfortable to just get in here and start whipping it around, no problems. The visibility is excellent. The side view mirrors do a great job. Lexus just nails all of these everyday ergonomics so well. You just feel comfortable in a Toyota Lexus vehicle. And the only true drawbacks that I can mention regarding this are pretty much like the at-limit handling, things of that nature, which again, the average individual, even if they were presented with a vehicle that has such high capabilities, they won't be able to appreciate or even utilize it out on these everyday roads. So again, kind of a moot point. The RX, it's doing the proper job of a luxury vehicle by giving us a relaxing driving character. With that established, let's go ahead and let's transition into the interior segment now. Okay, now that we are stopped, let's go ahead and let's talk about this interior space. I alluded to this during the drive, but the interior space, it feels quite sturdy and solid. This is a welcome improvement that I've seen with pretty much all of the 2026 Lexus vehicles. The doors have a nice heft to them when you open and close the doors. Nothing is creaking or rattling in here. Well done. I will say the overall cabin, it's not the most exciting to look at least in the pictures. In person, it's not so bad. And there are some quality touches in here that you appreciate in person, like the kind of suede headlining material. Again, the Mercedes GLE that I recently tested, it had like this almost like an economy car type of headlining material, a very rough kind of fabric. I was not a huge fan of that. When you have like this suede material, it really does elevate the interior. Love the size of the steering wheel. It's on the smaller side. It's great to grip onto. We have some good physical buttons in here. And yes, we even have paddle shifters. So if you want to utilize that, there you go. The CVT actually does a decent job of mimicking gears. And we do have the one-touch up and down windows for all 4 windows. And yes, the front side glass, it's definitely double paned. And this F-Sport design model, in general, it's not even a top-of-the-line trim level or anything like that, yet it still comes rather well equipped. We have the heated front seats. We also have the ventilated front seats along with the heated steering wheel. We have a 360 camera here. Love seeing that. And of course, we have the larger 14-inch display, which it looks nice. Overall, it's pretty easy to use, logically laid out, responds perfectly. We do have here the wireless Apple CarPlay and the wireless Android Auto. All of that works good. There's even a wireless phone charging pad underneath this little storage cubby. So good stuff. However, some drawbacks that I've noticed, all of the climate, it's definitely embedded into this touchscreen. I'm never a fan of that. Not to mention with this particular test model, I've noticed that the climate functions, they don't stay on the screen all of the time. I don't even know how to bring up the climate to stay there all the time. So that's very frustrating when you want to adjust your ventilated seats or something. I've noticed that the fan speed and all of that, that does stay available on the lower portion of the screen. So that's good at least. And you can, of course, control the temperature with these physical dials. But that's the only drawback that I've noticed. We also have here the digital gauge cluster. Looks nice, has a bit of a learning curve to it, but overall, that's not too bad. I am a fan of the storage overall. Again, we have a good cubby space near the wireless phone charger, 2 big cup holders, the center armrest, it's rather large, glove box is okay, and we do have a regular standard sunroof with this F-Sport design along with the garage door home link. Now, a sort of comparable trim level to this F-Sport design would be the Premium Plus model. It starts around the same price as this F-Sport design, but you have a little bit more availability when you go with the Premium Plus models in terms of features that you can add. For instance, with this F-Sport design, we do not have here the Mark Levinson audio system. It's not even available as an option, but it is available on the Premium Plus if you want to pay up for it. So yes, in my opinion, it is disappointing to see that the Mark Levinson, it's not even available as an option. Really don't like the way Lexus gatekeeps that, because the ML audio is genuinely one of the better audio systems, and a lot of people want to experience that. Granted, credit where credit is due, even the standard audio system sounds pretty good, and that's the case with pretty much all of the Lexus vehicles. It has a very similar sound signature to the ML audio. So you won't be completely disappointed with what you get here. Again, I just wish that Lexus would make these things available on more trim levels. And also regarding the seats, again, this is an F-Sport design model. We don't have the true F-Sport seats found in the F-Sport handling and the F-Sport performance model like the RX 500. So these are kind of like your regular standard new Lux seats. They're decent, they're not bad. I still like the way that these look. I find that the semi-aniline leather seats in the luxury trim level, that does feel the softest and the most comfortable in my opinion. Even the Premium Plus models do come with a leather trim seat as well. So if you appreciate the real leather, there you go. This is going to be the new Lux. It's of course going to be very durable and it will look nice. But again, this is not the true leather. Anyway, I do like the stitching throughout the door panel and the front dash area. That does look nice, along with the wood inserts. Again, there's a good solidity to all of this. And if you're cross-shopping this with the Lexus NX and you're not sure if you want to pay the extra amount of money to get the RX, I totally understand that. I will say the RX, it does truly feel like a more premium product, both to drive and to sit in. Not to mention, you have a lot more adjustability in the front seats of the RX. You can really put down the seats much more in the RX, and this is very beneficial if you are a taller individual. You can truly dial in the perfect seat setting. Not to mention, we have more rear leg room. I'm 5'11", I can comfortably sit behind myself. We do have the air vents back there, and we have about, on average, 7 cubic feet more trunk capacity in the RX than you do with the NX. So it's like 29.5 cubic feet of trunk capacity that we have here with the RX, and we also have a spare tire with this model as well. Really love to see that. So overall, it's just a good, spacious package. I highly recommend the RX amongst all of the luxury rivals. Good brand, good resale value, excellent space, lots of good powertrain options for different individuals. Of course, the hybrids like what you see here, these are going to be your most reliable, robust drivetrain setups that you can get in the luxury car segment. So with that established, let's go ahead and let's conclude this review now. Okay, concluding thoughts on the 2026 Lexus RX 350h. Overall, I'm definitely a fan of this SUV. It's performing quite well, especially for these newer 2026 model years. As I've said multiple times, the refinement, the solidity, all of these things have improved, not just with the RX, but with the entire Lexus lineup as a whole, to the point where these SUVs, they actually feel and drive like what their MSRP would suggest. This actually feels like a $60,000 to $70,000 driving experience, whereas in the past, I didn't really feel that way. The engines felt more crude. There was almost a sense of hollowness to the interior cabin. We went from that to, again, nearly Audi-esque levels of solidity, and that's big praise. Engines are much quieter. Not to mention, if you're actually cross-shopping this with things like the BMW X5 or the Mercedes GLE, I get it, this is a front-wheel drive architecture versus those rear-wheel drive architectures, but the average consumer doesn't really care. What most individuals see is in the luxury market, you're getting a nearly comparable sized vehicle, and Lexus is still a good, prestigious, reliable brand with tremendous resale value, and you're undercutting the X5s and the GLEs by nearly $10,000 to $20,000. That's no joke. And you go with these hybrid powertrain options, you're getting one of the most reliable, robust powertrains in the luxury car space. Not to mention, these vehicles do come rather well equipped. You get all of the useful safety tech features as standard. So yes, the RX, in my opinion, it's an easy recommendation. It should be serving most families rather well. There's a powertrain for everyone. I still like the turbo 4-cylinder as well in the regular RX 350 if you don't drive a lot, if you're just leasing. That makes a lot of sense. Plus, it's a little bit quicker and a little bit more refined than the naturally aspirated engines. If you want more performance, you have the RX 500h. Not only is it rather quick, but it also gets pretty excellent real-world fuel economy as well. And we have the two hybrid options, this 350h and there's the 450h Plus. Plug-in hybrid, all great choices, but if you don't want to deal with the plug-in hybrid system, charging it up, and also keeping up with the fuel that's inside the tank to make sure it's not going stale, what you can do is you can just buy a regular RX and then have like an RZ on the side that you might be leasing, because I recently did a test on the RZ 450e, the full electric vehicle from Lexus, that had an MSRP of like 59 grand, but it drove amazing. So if you're privileged enough to have multiple vehicles, that is something to consider. Have the EV on the side for your everyday commutes, and for your longer trips, you can have the gas-powered model or a hybrid like this. But yeah, that's my look at the all-new RX 350h. If you found value with this content, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you again for watching. Take care and goodbye.